Sometimes we win, sometimes we don't win. Don't give us the burn, don't give us your stink eye. We try our best, and we're successful. Come watch our show, Bet River sponsors. It's time to start, enjoy the show.
Welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It is Friday the 10th of October. You're with Steve Wyss and Nathan Joyes. We continue our assessment of the international break, going through the best bets today and a couple over the weekend as well. So Nathan, I know it's a busy time for you in this international break, and I'm not just talking on the soccer field. How's it going?
Yeah, one more day before the big move. I'm very excited, but as anyone knows who's moved house, it's absolute chaos, isn't it? So do you know what? It's quite nice to sit down for the next 40, 45 minutes, forget about that, and bring some best bets to the table.
Yeah, I can just see you moaning to the removal men tomorrow about how Azerbaijan messed up your bet or something. They're like, what the hell's going on? What an interesting international break so far. It was bittersweet for me yesterday. Hit early doors with a good winner in the Finland overs, but Faroe Islands did me in. Under 2 goals was. I really liked that play yesterday. They win 4-0. Unheard of territory.
That was wild. But
incredible performance.
It's nice to see, right? It's nice to see.
Yeah,
I know, obviously, if you've not got the bet on, but sometimes even international football can be quite predictable. So it's really nice to see these sort of smaller nations have these standout results and that glimmer of hope. So, yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about Faroe Islands a little bit later on.
Yeah, it was one of those where I actually regretted not betting on both teams to score no instead. But I just didn't see any team scoring 3 goals. I actually said that Montenegro are pretty trash these days. So at least that part was correct.
Yeah.
But brilliant performance from the Faroe Islands. There's a match in play right now. You can bet on the Bet Rivers app and website. It's Kazakhstan against Liechtenstein. I personally took minus 2.25 on Kazakhstan myself, so it's a good start. I would imagine, Liechtenstein, there's only 6 teams ranked worse than them in the world, and I would imagine that Kazakhstan will win at least 3-0, probably 4-0. If you had to say right now, what's the score going to be? 4-0. So, if you're actually taking the minus 1.25 in play from a 2-0 state, I don't think that would be the worst bet in the world if you're betting live right now. Because Liechtenstein are so bad. They lost to San Marino at home last year 3-1. That's how bad they are.
And I think the last time we were on the show, Steve, I think you had a bet on the Wales game with them, and they were just relentless at home. I know they didn't score, but
Kazakhstan, yeah,
that was the one. Yeah. So, Liechtenstein folds, don't they, in that second 45 minutes so often?
Yeah, Kazakhstan are kind of improving from where they were. I think it's helped that they've got a team in the Champions League now as well, with Kairat there, and that Wales game, Wales rode their luck a little bit in the second half. That's for sure. So, I'd imagine they will not rack up the score, but should extend their lead in the second half. But welcoming everyone, Rick Haley, Duncan Evans, Tristan as well. Jan Phillips says, where are you moving to, Nathan? Not too far from what you were saying.
I'm moving around the corner. So I'm making out it's a huge move, but it's still not fun, is it, to do all the boxes and pack up your life? But yeah, I'm only moving around the corner, staying in London.
Yeah, at least he's not going too far. Hello, Charles. Good day to you both. And yes, it did sting that under, but it wasn't a terrible day. Villafan says, it's my 40th birthday today, so make it a good one. So happy birthday to Villafan, one of the most loyal followers of the channel. Let's hope it's a good one. I keep seeing loads of sort of people that I know celebrating around that mark at the minute. I'm not there yet myself. But I'm sure it will come. So, have a great day, Villa. Let's hope we can find you a couple of winners. At least Aston Villa are not going to ruin your day, are they? Well, I hope not. Anyway, fashion. Good day for the Villa boys in the England team yesterday, actually. But I tell you what wasn't a good day, Nathan, for the bettors in the NFL. The the Giants win over the Eagles in the NFL last night was the third biggest sportsbook win for Bet Rivers since the start of the 2022 season.
Ooh.
So a fantastic night for the sportsbook. The 5 biggest bets, right, that have been given by producer Troy today, they're all losers. 300,000. This was actually not on the Eagles game, but on the Brewers money line against the Cubs, that was a loser. $169,000 on the Eagles -7. That lost. And several plays. I mean, it looks like, $500,000 has been lost at least on, Eagles live in play, because it's one of those games when you see a big team behind, and sometimes I'm the same with soccer. It's like they're an auto bet in play because they always find a way to either draw or win. Didn't happen for the Eagles yesterday. So, it's a good night for the sports book, and the bettors out there have got to recover it heading into the weekend. That's the nature of this beast, though, isn't it, Nathan? You're going to take some knocks down the road somewhere, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely. It's part of the game. I think a lot of people sometimes get excited for these shows or get excited for sports betting in general, right? And I think you're just going to knock winner after winner. You can have some really unfortunate losers, but yeah, it makes or breaks you, or it at least molds you, doesn't it? So I've been there many a time myself, but look, we're still here, we're still going, still searching for that third winning 0-0. It might not be on today's show, but there's always hope at the end of the rainbow for sure.
One good bet on this match last night, though. Someone placed $38 on Cam Scatterbo to have at least 3 touchdowns in the Giants-Eagles match at 55-1. And that's necked them over $2,000 profit. So it just shows you,
Absolutely. Yeah,
fair play. They're out there, these big winners. Biggest soccer winner was on Cortiba PR Live against Atletico Gio. What league's that? South America?
B, Brazil.
Is it? Yeah, $10,000 on live over 0.5 first half goals. It was a loser. Biggest international bet was $9,000 on Malta Netherlands live over 3.5 goals at +107, and that was a winner. So just looking through some of the comments. Jan Phillip, it was his birthday yesterday. Hope he had a good one. Alexander Burns, surely the Germans will destroy Luxembourg tonight. I do think they will. We'll talk about that game soon. And he's sitting in Durban, hoping the Bafana Bafana, the South African national team, can get a result against Zimbabwe. There was a crazy score I saw in Africa. Was it like 4-3 to someone? Might have been Gambia or something. Yeah. Gabon have beaten Gambia 4-3. Just finished now. Aubameyang scored 4 times in the game. So crazy stuff going on there.
Games where you don't get 4-3 in African Cup of Nations, or so it's just African qualifiers. I just stay away from it, because when I have an eye out for the African nations, the group's always 0-0, aren't they, or 1 at best. So to get 7, that must have been a chunky price.
There was also a 7-0 win for Ivory Coast against the Seychelles, and the Seychelles are terrible. Absolutely terrible. And a 5-0 win for Senegal against South Sudan. So the goals racking up. Sudan, Mauritania 0-0. That is more normal service regime for the African games. But we've got matches. Before we go to the matches, I must remind people about the Betting Weekly Insider, which will be released into your inboxes today. Several international plays over the weekend. And also a bit of a sort of an early look into the market leaders into the World Cup. Top 5 or 6 in the market are all analysed by our experts on the Insider. It's totally free to sign up. Please do it. You get 2 newsletters a week, and the Insider is a bumper edition coming to your inbox every Friday for those who haven't done it. But there is matches today that we're going to look at. We've not got bets in all these games at all by any stretch of the imagination. But there is a card to look at here. France, Azerbaijan. For me, I mean, because there's been some big wins recently and goal difference is important, I quite fancied France to maybe rack up the score here. But the handicap is -4.25, Nathan, which just feels, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's not generous enough for me to want to get involved in. And France are the sort of team that might not even worry about goal difference, to be honest.
You can see why, because Iceland put 5 past them, but for some reason, France have just struggled in front of goal in a lot of the games recently. Just a couple of 2 against Iceland was a little bit of a concern. So would I be happy to I divided back maybe minus them plus on that particular match, but would I be happy with the winner in that? It would probably be more of a sense of relief, which normally means that I want to avoid it. I think there's other games we can talk about.
Well, yesterday with the Austria game, I said, I didn't want to get involved because sometimes the minnows are quite good in the first match, but it ended 10-0. I think what it does highlight is that certain groups, the goal difference is really important for teams. They can't just sit on the 3-0, 4-0, and that's enough. But like I say, France can get lazy sometimes. England have been like that before, where they don't really think about that. They think they're just too good and they win the group anyway, and they will. So, best of luck if you get involved in that one. As expected, 99% of the money and 99% of the tickets are on France. Germany, Luxembourg is a little bit more interesting to me because, and there was a few suggestions about Germany in chat. I think it's one of those where the Asian handicap of minus 3.25 on Germany might just interest me slightly at minus 1.25. I won't go minus 3.5 because the 3-0 win is possible, but I think Germany need a reaction, Nathan. A shock defeat. They don't lose World Cup qualifying games very often. Let's just say that they're normally in my lifetime possibly the best qualifier that there's ever been for these tournaments. They nail qualifying, but that defeat might just put them on their toes a little bit. They've got goals in them, Germany. I think they didn't have them last time, and it's a Luxembourg team who. They're not that amazing. 3.5 handicap, probably not. 3.25. Yeah, I can see that.
A bit too far, isn't it? Because Luxembourg, yes, they lost to Slovakia, and it was at home last time out, but Slovakia got incredibly lucky in that game. The goal they scored in the final minute was a bit of a goalkeeper howler who just sort of knocked it out to a striker. But Slovakia for 75 minutes in the game really struggled, but yet 3 or 4 days before that they beat Germany 2-0, and yet Northern Ireland held up Germany for an hour before they ended up winning 3-1. So it's a hefty line. It could be one of those where we're talking about the next day in terms of the Austria San Marino. Not saying it's going to get out of hand. It could easily be hit, but would I want to back it now? Probably not. I think it's just a little bit too high for my liking. I'm not getting any value, which is what I want in a bet.
Alexander Burns said, Germany to score over 3.5 goals is a gift, and he's also looking at the team total over 4.5. Well, Bet Rivers are offering minus 134 on team total goals over 3.5 and plus 165 on over 4.5. That might be the better bet, actually, to be honest. It might well be the better bet because I sometimes look at this German team, Nathan, and I don't fully trust that defense. I just don't. So...
seems like it's another avoid for us.
I think I do think if Germany rack up a good win here, it's not going to surprise me. I'll put that out there. So if I was going to bet on something, I'd be looking to get Germany on side, but nothing heavy, not a heavy hitting game at all.
Yeah, I'm happy to congratulate anyone who gets on it from the sidelines and miss it potentially, but it's not an attractive bet for me.
Exactly the same split as the France game. 98% of the money, a little bit more on Luxembourg than this one. But there's a lot of mismatches this round. It's not been the most appealing card, I have to say. It really hasn't, Nathan, for me at all. Belgium, North Macedonia. Now, Belgium's handicaps here is minus 2.5, which, again, I didn't expect it to be this big because both of these two sides, there's not many points separating them, is there? At the top of the table there. Wales are in the mixer as well. Belgium against Wales on Monday is a huge
massive. Yeah.
Minus 2.25, minus 2.5 is the handicap on Belgium here. And North Macedonia that bad? Nathan, I get Belgium and again the 6-0 wins, haven't they? But
we've started this show with, I don't know, we're just saying avoid at the moment, but I feel like the price is just way too short now. They should win. It wouldn't surprise me. Again, I know as we've just repeated with France and Germany, it wouldn't surprise me because Belgium are a team who can get their scorelines out of hand. When it clicks at home, they are great. And they come into this with 12 goals from the last two, but against Kazakhstan at home and Liechtenstein away, I'd probably say North Macedonia are at least one level above that. And they're in there fighting, aren't they? So I don't know if this was a game which would get out of hand. I know goal difference is really important, but as you mentioned, Belgium-Wales is an absolute monstrous fixture. So if Belgium get a couple of goals up, will they sort of still be hitting in fifth gear? Will they keep De Bruyne on, etc.? I just don't know. So yeah, it's another avoid for me. I feel for Villa fan who's come on here wanting presents and gifts, and we're not giving him anything.
It's been like that today, yesterday. It's one of those where you don't want to back the favourites on the handicaps, but equally, you just don't have the confidence in the dog to take the plus handicaps.
But that's okay, right? And that's part of betting. And I think that's a good way of being. Sometimes I look at these international games and I think, look, there's 20, 30 games here. You can easily get drawn in. And I've done it many a times in the past where I've sat on, say, not back in France, Germany or Belgium for ages. And at the 11th hour, I've got sucked in because everyone else is sort of back in the price or back in the line, and then it doesn't hit. So if ever I have any sort of hesitations when I'm first looking at a card, I try to trust myself with that particular process. If I miss out, I miss out. But if it isn't an instant sort of bet for me, or if I don't like the price, just sit it out. There's football games every single day. The value will come at some point which pleases you. So don't be a sheep is what I'm trying to say, basically.
This is really good advice. I've got to say, this is really good advice. I'll have to get you on the Betting Zoo series at some point, Nathan, and we'll discuss betting tactics and techniques. But again, a lot of money and the tickets on Belgium, as you would expect in this fixture. For the Monday game, I really like the goals, by the way, over 2.5 goals in Wales, Belgium. I think that's the sort of game where both will really
definitely.
go for it.
I agree.
This match, no, not getting involved. Iceland against Ukraine. I've got a little slight lean on Iceland here, actually. Draw no bet. But mostly based on home field advantage at this time of year. I think it's quite important up there, actually. And it is something to consider. And, I've got to be honest with you, Nathan, I'm not sure if this is vintage Ukraine in the last 2 or 3 years now. It's been very difficult for them. We know that. And
I think they're awful.
They're just, and it could be a combination of factors, couldn't it, really? But I really do feel like plus 143, they're the wrong favourite here. At very bare minimum, it should be a clear pick 'em, but I would actually have Iceland as the slight favourite at home. Yeah. So I think at minus 103 on a tie-no bet, this would be quite a strong lean for me today.
Yeah, Ukraine they've drifted quite a lot as well. So never really a good sign. And they were really lethargic in their 1-1 draw against Azerbaijan. And then they did give away a cheap penalty. It's maybe slightly controversial, and then sort of stepped it up for the last 10 minutes. But they had plenty of time to win that game, and they didn't. And then they didn't really do anything against France. And I think maybe we're a bit generous with them there to be like, well, it is France. They should do better and bounce back into Azerbaijan. But they were really poor in that game. So, yeah, I'm with you. You've only got to look at the Faroe Islands result from yesterday to be like home advantage, especially in these Scandinavian countries. It's definitely well worth a poke. I like the draw no bet angle for sure.
Yeah, I think so. It just feels like a good time of year to be betting on them. The Faroes result yesterday, we'll never quite know how much of the home conditions affected it. But as a football player, I wouldn't want to be traveling up to Iceland this time of year. As a tourist, I'd always want to be going.
Yeah, tourist, yes. Player, no.
Any time of year, I'll go there. But it's a difficult place to go in terms of the soccer and the sports sprint. And 5-0 last time, when the crowd get behind them, they can make a big difference as well. Barrack likes the same bet as me. Tristan likes the Iceland team total over 1.5. That's maybe not a bad call at all. Ray Burke, always good to see you. Francis G says Belgium corners is a good shout. This can happen in these sort of games, especially if the favourite doesn't get on top early, as in scoring early or getting a big advantage early.
But if they do,
yes,
because what was Norway's? When they won, was it 9-10-0? Who did they play? I can't remember. Was it Moldova? I went on the corners for that one, and then Norway scored within a minute, and I don't think they had more than 2 or 3 in like the whole match, or it got to half time and there was one corner, and I'm kicking myself that I'm not chasing the goals instead. So you can go one or two ways. I think corners is a clever in-play bet. If you're watching it, if you've got a sense of the game, if there's a little bit of frustration. But I think sometimes maybe it's a little bit too bold to go in from the very beginning. It's a sort of sit and watch for me, but that's just my advice anyway.
There are some teams that I think keep going for corners even if they are ahead. I mean, Rayo Vallecano in Spain, I love them at the minute for that sort of thing. But I mean, I got done in a corners bet, Everton against West Ham the other week, and Everton scored pretty much from the first attack that they had after 20 minutes, and that was it. I knew then I wasn't going to get the 6 corners I needed from Everton because they retreated. So that's partly my mistake. I never saw them scoring after 20 minutes. That was the other thing. So you kind of read the game wrong anyway. But yeah, corners in running can be a great thing. Brad Betts Footy, good to see you. Ukraine both teams to score 13 out of 17 away games. That's an interesting stat. Strong stat, really, isn't it? Actually, Christopher Ross says Belgium is on too many of my bets, and I feel it might be the only upset today. France might do 6-0, he thinks, and Germany at least 3-0. I mean, when you say an upset, are you talking, the covering of the 2.5 handicap there, or Belgium actually not to win the game? North Macedonia did shock Italy several years ago, didn't they, in the playoffs? Incredible, really.
That was
absolutely incredible. He wouldn't touch Ukraine, though, either, Christopher Ross. They're not an appealing team to bet on in international soccer right now, either home or away. For that match, by the way, Iceland, there is 76% of the money's on Iceland, and 60% of the tickets. So if you're following the money, this could be a good bet. Actually, the more I look at it, I'm loving it even more. Iceland on the draw no bet. It is 3-0 to Kazakhstan now. They have extended their lead. You can still bet on that match in play on the Bet Rivers app. The latest lines, you'll probably be able to bet on. Well, the goal lines are Asian over 4, and the Kazakhstan handicap is minus 0.75 from the 3-0 game state. I still think that 4-0 could very well happen there in that game. So if you are betting in running, then I would be looking to extend the handicap with the home team. Okay, was there one other game on this card? No, we're on to the second sheet. Northern Ireland against Slovakia. I'll be honest, Nathan, whenever I don't get involved with Northern Ireland games very often, as soon as I see them on the card, I'm like, no. But they have changed the style a bit more recently. They seem more offensive minded, but as a traditionalist like myself, when they're at home, they often go back into the shell.
It's if you had to force me into a particular bet, because I looked at this for a match preview early in the week, maybe I think the value is slightly with Slovakia draw no bet. But yeah, I think once again, it's I'm going to be sitting out of this one.
I absolutely for me as well. I'm not interested in this one, but I can tell you 83% of the money and 70% of the tickets are on Northern Ireland. Be careful, Slovakia, the expectations might be higher than normal, and some might look at that plus 215 as a big price on Slovakia, but I'm not sure I could trust them, almost in a way the pressure's extended on them. Now after the great result they had. Kosovo, Slovenia, I mean, another one that it just screamed to me. Unders, actually, if anything, but I think it'll be quite a feisty game. Might be a few cards in this one. Kosovo is a favourite, though, against Slovenia. I mean, are you having that? Kosovo? I mean, they did beat Sweden, to be fair to them, but Sweden were a mess in that game. But for me, Slovenia is still the better team.
Yeah. I think this is, as we said at the start, this is such a horrible card. I don't think I really have an opinion for this one, to be honest with you. So yeah, maybe it's an overreaction to the Sweden result. I'm not 100% sure, but it's a complete avoid. Kosovo, Slovenia, you'd struggle to get me to have a bet on this.
This is why we had to get Nathan onto the weekend card, basically, because it's such a difficult one today. But I'm not getting involved in this one either. 82% of the money's on Kosovo. That surprises me. It just does. Maybe I'm underestimating Kosovo because quite a few in chat like them. Barek Levav says get on Kosovo minus a quarter of a goal. And Art 1H, Kosovo money line and over 1.5. Francis G says both teams score is big. Is that for this game or for the Slovakia one? Janepi says absences for Slovakia. Be careful with them. Janepi says Kosovo got the better players. Maybe I am underestimating Kosovo. They're not a nation I watch that often. I'm not familiar with that many of their players. Chat probably know better than me on Kosovo. Do you ever find this in international soccer where you just tend to follow certain teams more than others? I'm not talking about your South American ones here, but sort of your random nations around the world. Kosovo just never been one for me.
No, definitely not. Yeah. I like to dip my toes into a lot of football, but I think sometimes the smaller the pool, the better judge you're going to be. And Kosovo haven't quite made my pool yet. So yeah, I'll lean on the chat for any leans there, but nothing from myself. I do have bets for the show for people who have got this far and they're still waiting.
Don't worry.
I promise
they are coming.
They are coming.
They are coming for the weekend for Nathan. The last game on the card today, it is definitely a strong bet for me. Sweden against Switzerland, over 2.5 goals, -113. This was the newsletter pick I gave out on Monday for those who subscribed to it. So maybe quite a few of you are on this one already. Main reason, I'll just give it again. I gave it on the video for the newsletter on Monday. It's really a must-win game for Sweden. Switzerland have started excellently, and they are an underrated team at international level, becoming even better qualifiers in the last few years. But Sweden, I think they're a bit of a mess. It reminds me of where Norway were about 3 or 4 years ago, where they got a really talented squad, especially in attacking areas. But they're not gelling together properly. There doesn't seem to be the cohesion. The manager's probably not the right fit. They've got really big defensive problems. But I can tell you now, home advantage here. It's a big arena, this one, in Stockholm, about 50,000. They'll get behind them here, and they've got to go for it. A draw's not good enough for Sweden. So they can't settle for that draw. And Switzerland are the sort of team who will take advantage on the counter-attack. So I really like the goals here. I know there was quite a few in chat who put both teams score yes as well. And I think Sweden will pick themselves up in a few years' time and be probably where Norway are now. But right at the moment, for me, they're just not delivering enough, despite the lavish luxuries they have in the final third of the field. It's incredible, Nathan.
No, I'd have to agree with you. I think goals this is the first time out all the games I'm like, this is the one I'd get involved with for goals, both teams to score, etc. I think that's a nice play, and there will be that reaction to Kosovo, but I think it's mainly just because they're at home, right? So I think that's a good angle. But I agree with you. This is something which isn't clicking with Sweden, but it just goes to show it's not all about the players in the final third, is it?
Of course it's not. There's lots of different factors. And they're not fancied by the bettors here. Sweden, 78% of the money's on Switzerland, 81% of the tickets. And we've got 7% tickets on the over for this game. Art 1H also likes the over 2.5 in this game. Christopher Ross doesn't see Slovakia winning away, but he doesn't see Northern Ireland winning either. So just bet on the draw. Christopher Ross, that's the answer, I think, there. And Brad Betts Footy, the coach is bad. He has dropped the goalkeeper now at least, but in terms of Sweden, it's Jon Dahl Tomasson, former. Was it Newcastle he played for? I think he played for Feyenoord as well, or managed Feyenoord.
Jon Dahl Tomasson, wasn't he Blackburn?
Oh, was he Blackburn? Yeah, he definitely played in the Premier League back in the day.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I've got Blackburn in my head. The chat can tell me if I'm wrong.
Ginepi says Embolo to score. He's Ronaldo when he plays for Switzerland. Certain teams who do play better for nation rather than club. And Simon King's liking that both teams to score as well. Right, Nathan, this is when you take over a bit now.
I'm due on
World Cup qualifying weekends here. So we go Saturday, Bulgaria, Turkey, Portugal, Republic of Ireland. And then Sunday we'll talk about the Faroe Islands. But let's start the ball rolling here. Bulgaria against Turkey. Turkey minus 435 favourites here. We've often mentioned Bulgaria on this Betting Weekly live show in the last year or so, that they live on reputation still, even now. And I feel like you might be taking advantage of it once again.
Yeah, I've backed Turkey minus 1.5. I think maybe it might be at 1.75 now, but I think either or is my bet of the round. I think the betting has been slightly influenced by Turkey getting hammered by Spain, but I think we can put that to one side for, one reason really. I think Turkey made the mistake of trying to go toe-to-toe with Spain in that match. And if you go toe-to-toe with the favourites to win the World Cup, you're probably going to get punished. But if we rewind to that Georgia game, they were ruthless, scored 3 really good goals. The 2 goals they conceded, one was late on, but I don't think Bulgaria can even create those opportunities. So I think instead of looking at it negatively to be like they have conceded 8. Park the Spain game, the 2 goals Georgia scored, they were at home as well. It was the first game. I think we said there'd be goals in that particular match. But Turkey the way they moved the ball quickly to score those 3 goals really impressed me. And I think I said before, Bulgaria even kicked a ball. I think they'll finish bottom. I don't see them scoring. I think they're one of the worst nations. And I think anything of Turkey to score 2 or more is going to be really promising. And the fact that they're chasing that goal difference now, we spoke about goal difference almost the other way. They're trying to get their heads above water again after the 6 conceded in that Spain game. So put that to one side. I think that's probably played into the punters' hands a little bit because of such a thrashing. But I think there's context behind it. And I think Turkey would have learned from that. And I think they can absolutely smash Bulgaria here, who are hopeless.
Yeah, I can't disagree because of what Bulgaria have become in world soccer now. A shadow of what they once were. But even compared to 10 years ago, I think it's a sorry state. Turkey, well, the one thing you know about Turkey, they've got goals in them. As Tristan has said there, over 3.5 goals could be worth looking at. Christopher Ross thinks that they could cover goals lines all by themselves, but you only need them to win 2-0 and you're going to make some sort of a profit on this game. Would say it's a great looking angle. And you're going after another favourite here, Nathan, to back them, that is. And this is Portugal, Republic of Ireland. Portugal minus 9.10 on the money line. Republic of Ireland 20-1 with Bet Rivers. How do you see this one going?
I think it's a nice obvious one. This is a line I am happy to take. Portugal opened up just I think minus 1.75, but I'd still take -2 on the Asian handicap here. I just think it's been lenient towards Ireland. I've seen a lot of people writing and reporting that, well, Portugal don't keep clean sheets at home, etc., etc. But I mean, when you go through them, like the teams they've played, the last 5 games at home, well, Croatia, like Poland, they beat 5-1, and Poland just scored in the last minute, so you can sort of chalk that off. But like games against Denmark, Spain, etc., France, like there's been teams and nations just much stronger than Ireland. I haven't been impressed with Ireland at all. I think Portugal have just got a well-organized team now, which has been the same sort of team for 2 or 3 years now, but it's been building, right? I know there's always the fascination with Ronaldo, but away from him, the team is just stacked with quality. And if we look at Ireland's games, like they were very lucky to draw with Hungary 2-2. I think their sending off helped them out there. And then to go and lose 2-1 away to Armenia is a disgrace. And the fact that Portugal absolutely battered them 5-0, got the XG in front of me here with XG of 6.34, 71% possession, just like kept them at arm's length and battered them 5-0. So if they can batter Armenia 5-0 and Ireland struggle and lose 2-1 against them on the road, it just makes sense that Portugal can at least, I'll be very disappointed if they only win by 2 here and you get a refund, but I think that's a safety net which is well worth taking. So this is a line I would rather chase compared to the hefty ones we spoke about at the start of the show. But Portugal, you don't need me to tell you the stack with quality. Ireland are rubbish. Home win.
Yeah, and again, Portugal are a sort of team who just smash qualifying up to pieces usually. We know how the game's going to go on the field as well in terms of, I mean, Ireland will probably hardly venture out of their own half. It's going to be that sort of contest, and that looks generous, doesn't it, the handicap? And we sometimes talk about, if we ever talk sort of -2 in club soccer, we think, wow, that's big. But in international soccer, that can be quite small, as some of these results have shown recently.
Out of all the lines we've spoken about, that's the one which just is. I would have that ranked with like -3. I'd have that up to about -2.75 is probably how I had that priced up. So when the line initially opened up around -1.75, that's why alarm bell started going, and that was the standout bet. So that's why I'm happy to avoid the others and just sort of top this one up with maybe a unit and a half.
Brad Footy says Xhaka turns into prime Pirlo when he plays for Switzerland. I've seen some people put Xhaka in the Premier League team of the season so far. So he's been performing at club level as well this year.
It's a great signing.
Form. Well, it is. I mean, it has been a great signing, hasn't it? No doubt about it. Was it a free signing as well, or not much?
Yeah, I think it was free. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Van City Canuck says, does Mexico play all their home games at the World Cup, even if they make it the knockout stage? I think they're at home until possibly the quarterfinals, but don't quote me on that. They're certainly all in the group stage. They are, and they would be if they win their group, they'll still be at home. I think after that, I'm not sure.
Makes sense. That's a good angle, though. I like it.
Well, I tell you what, Nathan, when that World Cup draw is being made, I think the location of teams is going to be really, really important.
Yeah,
there's certain spots you want to be. I think there's certain spots you don't want to be. It's you're not going to win or lose a World Cup depending where you are, but I still think it's a big factor, especially when it's such a huge country out there. 3 different countries hosting it as well, of course.
Yeah. Sure.
Definitely factors. The Norway game, and the thing with Norway-Israel, be careful with that one, Brad, because there's the 2 nations don't really get on, for want of a better word, and it's often the strong media sort of hoo-ha. All Norway need to do now to qualify for the World Cup is just win their games, apart from the one against Italy away, and get over the line. Their goal difference is so big, they can afford to take a beating in Italy, really.
Plus 21.
Yeah.
After 5.
They don't need to rack up the score. They'll take a win now. They're in result soccer. But equally, if they turn it on, they turn it on. Do I have any thoughts on the darts today? I've been watching the darts, actually, Christopher Ross, but I'm just not a good enough expert to advise you there. You were saying that Gary Anderson looks a good bet. He has been. His doubles have looked really good. I'll say that about Gary Anderson. Whether that equates to a win or what type of bet today, I'm not sure. But I'm not going to give out darts. I can't give out darts. I'm watching it, though. I do like watching it.
Yeah, 100%. I used to report on it all the time. So I used to write match previews, and I used to go relentlessly to all these events. I loved it. But football just took over in the end. But yeah, there's always some really good angles in the darts, and it's.
Do you ever play it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I haven't played properly in a while, but I played for a fair few years. Yeah, I mean, I didn't ever really break anything decent, but my aim was always to get at least 180, and I think I stopped counting after about 20 plus. So I was happy with that.
Yeah, I used to play in a league around here, and as we often do in this part of England, something called a Yorkshire board. Have you ever come across one? A Yorkshire board.
What is a Yorkshire board?
There's no trebles on it, and there's no outer ring, so it's just doubles and a bull and singles.
Oh, I have seen that. Yeah,
that's very quirky. And you used to basically you become really good at double top and bullseye actually. Yeah. So yeah, I used to play that, and as I was saying to Nigel, though, I was once involved in a competition like this one where it's double in, double out, and I didn't net a single point. I missed 21 straight doubles to start a leg, and I lost the leg.
Oh no! Is that when you stopped playing?
I don't know what happened. Instead. I think I might have even won that match. It was a best of 3 legs. I think I won the match, if I remember correctly. But I lost the first leg without getting a score on the board. It's ridiculous.
That's unreal. Amazing.
Anyway, I'm going off tangent here with the darts talk. Wait till the World Championships on. Everyone's going to get really excited for that. Where are we? Here we go. Faroe Islands. I mentioned at the top of the show. What a win for them yesterday. They cost me, but credit to the Faroes. 4-0. Now they face the Czech Republic at -250 here, Czech Republic. The Faroes can still dream, Nathan, of qualifying for the World Cup, which is remarkable. And, Czech Republic, disappointing result for them against Croatia. I felt it needed to be must win. I think it was must win. I think they'll be a bit downbeat on that. Would you be taking the visitor here at -250?
No, I wouldn't. I think Faroe Islands of course, as soon as that game finished, I think people were piling into the Asian handicap line or a few angles towards Faroe Islands, but I still think it's a bet around plus 1.25 at the moment for Faroe Islands. I think you should easily be looking to bank a half win there. I think you'd be disappointed if Czechs come away with this game with a 2-0 win. I think they were so impressive against Montenegro. It's that home environment. It's similar to Iceland. I mean, you can look through their results, and I know it was a slender win against Gibraltar, where they've obviously Gibraltar, the whipping boys in this group. But that game was in Gibraltar when Croatia played them and beat them 7-0, that was in Portugal. So I think sometimes you have to look at a little bit more context around that. And that was away from home. I don't expect Faroe Islands to be that great on their travels, but at home, they were ruthless yesterday. Like nobody saw it coming, but it was incredibly impressive. And I know I spoke earlier in terms of there may be an overreaction to certain wins and how that the prices are affected. But I think Faroe Islands should be sitting at +1 on the Asian handicap line here. So the fact that you're getting at least potentially a half win, even if they lose this by 1, I mean, Croatia only beat them 1-0, and I think they were a really short price. I think that, I'm having a look now at that particular game. Yeah, Croatia, I mean, they absolutely bossed it in the end, but Faroe Islands had a few big chances in that game when it was still 0-0. So, yeah, I like the line. I think I just can't see Czech Republic winning by 2 goals or more, to be honest with you. I think the momentum's going to be there. The fans obviously going to be buzzing with this outside chance now. And have Czech Republic been that impressive? I know they drew with Croatia yesterday, but that was such a horrendous 0-0. So yeah, I don't know about you, Steve, but I just don't see why the price is that big. I don't know if I'd be backing him on a draw no bet or hoping for the win, but if you can squeeze something out of that Asian handicap price, it appeals to me.
Well, I actually watched the reverse fixture, the full 90 minutes of it, which I do believe was a 2-1 win for the
2-1. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Now, why was I watching it? You might wonder. I remember I was on a corners bet in that game, actually, on the Czech Republic. But one thing I noticed from it was how physical the Faroes are. Not many teams can live up to the Czechs on a physical level. There's some big boys in there, but the Faroes can. They actually scored from a corner in that fixture. And so I think from a physical perspective, sometimes the Czechs can beat up the poorer teams because of that. They're not going to be able to do that and impose themselves in that way. They're going to have to play a bit of soccer. And this is why the Faroe Islands never get beat big by many teams, especially at home. If you look at down the years, it's rare they take a shellacking as such, because they're just physically competitive in that regard. And this has all the makings, actually. I mean, they're never going to be as confident as now, are they, after that 4-0 win?
Definitely not.
This could be a draw, It absolutely could be a draw. And as a worst sort of case, the 0-1 would stick out. But this might be a different Faroes now, Nathan. It might be.
I agree. I think, Steve, you said it to me on one of our first podcasts in terms of like motivation is a huge factor. And yes, obviously both teams are going to be motivated, but just have that home advantage. As you said, like the fact that they only lost 2-1 on the road, that gives them confidence that they can reverse this. I just think momentum's in their favor, and sometimes you just have to go with that as well. So, yeah, I mean, the more we're talking about it here, and that plus 1.25, I think it's a really good, not the best bet. I'm stick with Turkey for sure, but this is a close second or third for sure across the card.
It's thought handicap that I thought would be plus 0.75 or plus 1.
Yeah.
So I think you're getting line value on it. I'll say that much.
For sure.
I think it's a good play. Brad Betts is talking about the Ballon d'Or and the egotistical strikers on that list. Haaland, Kane and Mbappe, looking to back them in games, and they are hungry at the minute, no doubt about it. Quite a few people thinking that Norway might get a big win against Israel coming up this week, and you wouldn't ever bet against it. But like I said, the most important thing for Norway now is to qualify for this World Cup. And when you're in that sort of mode, there was a match where they weren't at their best in the summer against Estonia away. They were in control, but they only won 1-0. They were happy just to see it out in the end because they know how much the result is so important to them. You don't want to be going through playoff systems. Leslie Mack says both teams to score in France. I mean, I don't think so, but France can get lazy. So that's the thing. They're like a horse that has a flat spot at certain periods going around the track. Both ends of the field, for that matter. Someone's asking about the Argentina game. It wouldn't be a show with Nathan without a South American angle, would it? And we've even gone a full blown up graphic for the friendly between Argentina and Venezuela. And Argentina minus 530, Venezuela plus 1200. The tie at plus 540. The match has been played in the USA, in Florida, I do believe, Nathan. And it should be a really, I hope it will be a great atmosphere and for a great location for it.
Yeah, I think there's actually going to be a decent amount of fans for both nations, to be honest with you. But I think that may add to sort of taking it away from a friendly feel. Lionel Scaloni's come out and said that he's going to be taking these friendlies very seriously, as you would expect. Like, these are the world champions. They will want to hold on to their crown. I've been very passionate about this squad, and I think that they can definitely go close again next summer. But look, Argentina, Venezuela, one camp motivated, happy at the moment, content. The other one, disarray. They missed out on their first ever World Cup. It was theirs to lose, and then they lost 6-3 on the final day in Caracas to Colombia. It was a mess. I don't know how that particular game unraveled in that way. Since the manager's been sacked, and they've just like promoted one of the assistant coaches to the interim role just to fulfill one or two of these games, which will come around too quickly. So they haven't got a replacement. One or two key players aren't turning up for this match. Rondon isn't in the squad, and the 4 forwards that have been selected for this match are still yet to register a senior international goal. So there's ways we can look at this. I wouldn't be looking at Lionel Messi to score because I don't think he's going to start, because Inter Miami have a really important game 24 hours later. So he's a little bit tied there with him and De Paul. But then Venezuela have got a Inter Miami player as well. So a bit of catch-22 there. But Argentina can win without Messi. I think sometimes they're a little bit more fluid without him. They'll have Alvarez and obviously Lautaro Martinez up top. So I think the line has now moved to -2 Asian handicap. I wouldn't put people off that at all. I think you're definitely guaranteed a refund just because Venezuela's squad looks a little bit weak. I don't know what the tactics are at this point. They have an interim manager whilst they're still looking for somebody. He's been told that he's not going to get the job. So is he really going to be incredibly passionate? Are the players going to buy into what he wants them to do in this particular match? The answer is probably no. Argentina rarely concede. So if you didn't want to chase that line, or if you didn't want to back -1.75, where it's maybe a tiny bit short now, around 1.7. I mean, I think you're still guaranteed a half win there, but you can get Argentina to nil just a little bit higher, I think at 1.75 plus. So I think it's going to be a comfortable game. I think there's going to be plenty of fans there as well, but maybe just from a Venezuelan point of view, just a bit of a boost on morale. But yeah, on the pitch, I'm not expecting much from them here. So yeah, comfortable win for the world champions. Probably people may have expected that, but hopefully a little bit more context around maybe getting on a few different angles here because of Venezuela's current situation and lack of players who are going to be there, especially Rondon not being there. That's huge.
Yeah, win to nil for Argentina then. And there'll be those interested in handicaps and stuff as well. I saw actually with the regards to the playoff position in South America there that it might be the playoffs are going to be in March, of course, with teams from all around the world in it. Several nations might be relieved that it was Bolivia that got in rather than Venezuela, because on sort of neutral territory, you've got to think Venezuela are the better team over those two, Nathan.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I don't know how they threw it away, to be honest with you. They looked really strong. And then Copa America, they only didn't reach the semi-finals because they lost on the lottery of the penalties to Canada. They were incredible, came out a really tough group. Everything was coming together. I know people may not have heard Rondon's name for a while, but he carries that team. He's still such an influential figure. He scored against Argentina at home when they drew 1-1, like a massive result at the time. Deadly from 12 yards as well. But they've got a lot of youth players coming through as well. And it was a real nice blend. And it was a real shame because they weren't able to get that monkey off the back that they haven't been able to go to a World Cup. And yeah, as you said, it's going to be chaotic. I can't wait for that intercontinental tournament. Like that is niche peak football, which I'm very interested in. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Bolivia get on. They actually kick off in 11 minutes against Jordan in Turkey. So that's maybe your first taste of how they're going to get on at 0 meters above sea level. So I think those friendlies will give you a bit of context as to how they'll do. But yeah, Venezuela should have been there, but they choked, unfortunately. And yeah, they live to regret it.
Yeah, if you're betting on that game, the best option to take with BetRivers right now is Venezuela not to score, -162. That's actually better odds than the win to nil. So just take that. Yeah. Or both teams score no as well is the same price as win to nil. But okay, well, that will do it for today. Kazakhstan, by the way, 4-0 up now. It looks like it's like 20 seconds away from ending that 4-0. So I hope you guys managed to get on a bit of that. Ian Messina, going back to the Swedes, do I think that Switzerland will part the bus? I don't think they will. I just think they've got counter-attacking players which will play into their hands in this game. They might be defensively as rigid as they can be, but they'll definitely keep themselves a threat. The best plays, of course, we always give a best bet at the end of it. For me, it is that over 2.5 goals in the Sweden against Switzerland game. And Iceland draw no bet as well. That would be my second best bet of the day. And there's not much else after that. But of the selections that you gave out on this show, Nathan, what would be your best two?
Definitely Turkey, at least -1.5, and I'd be happy for people to chase up to the -2 on the Asian handicap line. And then just what I've spoken about there, the more I've talked about the strength of Argentina's squad heading into this game, Venezuela not to score be my next best.
Brilliant. Grazia says Wigan to win the grand final. That is in rugby league. Good luck with that play. Duncan Evans says good luck all. And yeah, that's what I've got to say for everyone over the course of the weekend. Whatever sport you're betting in, remember to gamble responsibly. Cash some winning tickets and watch Betting Weekly Live US later today. That is going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern time with Mike Carver, Doug Kazarian, and they'll be covering all sorts of angles, NFL weekend bets and stuff like that, I'm sure. Check out I'm hoping that my latest episode of the Betting Zoo is going to be out today with Lewis Jones. Don't think it's quite out yet, but I'm hoping it will be released later. Keep your eye out for that over the weekend, guys. And Nathan, best of luck with the move.
I appreciate that.
Hope it's not too stressful. We'll see everyone next week on Betting Weekly Live. But take care and have a great weekend. Goodbye.